Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. In the upcoming 15 till 20 minutes, I will give you a presentation about global remanufacturing. I will talk about the three largest markets. We'll tell you a bit of the history, the trends, but also the increasing markets. But first of all, let me quickly tell you something a bit about myself and what Remantech is doing. My name is Yorien de Ruijter, and I'm the director of the remanufacturing events at RI Amsterdam. That means that I'm responsible for the platform Remantech. Remantech consists of four categories. One is Remantech Amsterdam, which is our oldest trade show. It started in 2001 and welcomes 77 nationalities every 2 years. At the show, it's possible to network, gather knowledge, do business, etc. The next Remantech Amsterdam will be in 2022, the 14th till the 16th of June. Then we have one of our newest exhibitions, which is Remantech Asia. This year will be the second edition, which will be held the 11th to the 13th of October and is organized every year. Remantech Asia is a international exhibition. However, this year, because of COVID-19, that is impossible because we are not able to travel to China. Therefore, for this year, it will be more nationally focused. Then we have a new event, which is called Remantech Live and Connected, which will be held in March 2021. Remantech Live and Connected is a hybrid event. This means that you're able to attend it online. However, you're also able to attend it live in Amsterdam. And we have Remantech News. Remantech News is the remanufacturing news platform where we hand out a newsletter every 2 weeks, and we also post quite a lot on social media. But this is a short explanation on what we do at Remantech. And before I start on the global perspective on remanufacturing, I would like to show the next slides. Sorry. This slide, the next slide is missing, I see. I wanted to explain to you what Rajiv and Renee were also saying, that there's quite some confusion about the definition of remanufacturing and other activities like repair, refurbishment, reconditioning, or reuse. Yeah, they are often used in different ways, and they actually vary from country to country and also from company to company. Remantech is mainly focusing on automotive and the heavy duty industry. So if I'm using any examples, that will be mostly about these two industries. I would like to show the three largest markets, which is the United States, Europe, and China. In the US is actually the most well-developed and largest remanufacturing industry in the world. There has been a research where in 2011, where they say they have a 43 billion turnover, and they also claim to have a growth percentage of 2% per year. This means that in now 2020, there is a 50.7 billion turnover, and they have the potential to reach 60.8 billion in 2030. The second largest market is Europe, with almost 30 billion in 2016. Europe have many industries. They have a Reman program, and they have the largest growth potential concerning the ERN and ERC, which are two remanufacturing associations. You're probably asking, why does Europe has the largest growth potential? That is because they started projects to encourage new businesses to start in Reman. They help existing Reman businesses to improve, and they are also creating awareness to increase demand. Well, that leads then to a potential reach of 90 billion in 2030. Then the third largest market is China. There has just been a research that mentioned a 30 billion turnover in 2020, and they have a potential to reach 70.4 billion in 2030. They've made a quite big growth in the last couple of years, because in 2017 it was only 17.6 billion. Of course, also a large or strong growth rate. That is because the strong governmental support of the last couple of years, and also there has been a large increase in car sales, which at the end also increases the remanufacturing. Where in Europe and the United States, there are many Reman programs in many industry. China is mainly focusing on the automotive industry, which is actually the biggest over there. Other sectors like railway, mining, marine, and IT are following, but are not that large at the moment. I must say these estimations has been made before COVID-19. So it can happen because at the moment the world is not looking great in terms of the industry, and that will be a bit less. However, let's see in 2030 what the actual numbers are going to be. Also, if we look at this forecast, that means that in 2030 the United States will not be the largest remanufacturing industry anymore, and that means that that is the case since the start of remanufacturing. Of course, these are forecasts, so yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. So let's find that out. Then I would like to tell you a bit about the history of the three regions. Remanufacturing started in the United States in 1940, because during the World War II there was a need of automotive and trucks parts. However, the researchers were rare. Actually, then they started to make the cores new again, because this was cost saving, but it also saved a lot of resources. Quite fast after the introduction in the USA, Reman came to Europe, which started in the UK in Birmingham. The company Lucas brought it to Europe, and very quickly after that it spread to the rest of Europe. The United States and Europe had quite some years to develop the industry, and that also can be seen in the maturity of the industry nowadays. In China, it's a bit of a different story. Remanufacturing started in the 1990s, actually on a low scale. And in 2008, it became more popular. And that is because in 2008, the two pilot programs started, where only 50 remanufacturers were allowed in this program. And it was a test if China was able to set up a remanufacturing program. And from there on, it slowly started to grow and grow. Actually, only the last 5 years, there have been a tremendous growth in China. And that is because there has been a large increase in car sales. There is a fleet of 93.2 million cars that ran out of warranty in 2015. And that means that the maintenance peak starts about almost now, and that there will be an increase in the demand of auto parts. Furthermore, there's an increase in China because the Chinese government is supporting sustainable projects at the moment, which of course also increases the remanufacturing industry because that is part of the sustainable projects. If you are looking at the regions, in these three markets. In the United States, you see that the Northern America is the lead global Reman region. In Europe, you have originally also the manufacturing companies that are also quite large in the remanufacturing, which are Germany, UK, Italy, and France. In the last couple of years, we've seen a large increase from Poland. We see that a quite large increase on our exhibition. I think the Polish exhibition has grown with 15% in the last two shows. In China, there are 8 remanufacturing zones in Linjiang, Wujiao, Hejiang, and Guangzhou. Only in these 8 zones you are able to remanufacture. And also in these 8 zones, quite big remanufacturing plants have been set up. Next, what I would like to show you is that there's quite some support from associations that are aiming to improve the remanufacturing globally. I've divided them into the 3 regions. There are quite some associations in the United States, in Europe, and in China. What do these associations do? They're promoting the growth of all sectors in remanufacturing industry. They are building a network to stay informed in remanufacturing technologies. They provide education and training. They talk with policymakers to improve trade, and they are trying to increase the awareness of the benefits of remanufacturing to the government, but also to the general public. I believe that there is one a common goal for associations, however, also for the remanufacturing to increase remanufacturing industry, and that is creating awareness. To be able to expand the remanufacturing industry, the public must be more aware of the advantages of remanufacturing. Remantech was also quite interested of how aware people are, so the end user, how aware they are of remanufacturing, and therefore Remantech conducted a research together with a couple of DOTS associations named BOVAG, STIBA, and the RAI Aftermarket. And this research looked in, how much are the Dutch car owners aware of remanufacturing? It turned out that only 26% of the car owners did not know the term remanufacturing. And 66% of the car owners said that their workshop never suggested remanufactured parts. However, after we explained what remanufacturing is, 91% said that they would like to consider to make use of remanufactured parts. So this is really at the moment it's a challenge in remanufacturing, but it is really something that we must remember that the end user is not very much aware yet of remanufactured products, and this is something where we can make a large growth in the future. Associations are working on this to make people more aware. And what there has been done, there have been 6 associations. They've reached a common understanding of basic definitions, and these definitions enables it to better present views and solutions to the customer. I would like to show you these terms, these definitions. There has been made a definition of remanufacturing process, remanufacturing part, and a core. I think this presentation will be sent to you later on, so you can read through them more carefully. I believe that these standard terms are quite important because they make remanufacturing more clear and also more, if you understand what I mean, more real. Other trends in remanufacturing is what our chief also said is the EV and battery pack remanufacturing. And here you can think of electrical vehicles, but also electric bike, where the battery needs to be remanufactured for. EV has got more and more important in the last couple of years. And the reason of that is, of course, that there are more EV of electrical vehicles manufactured. There are more on the market. EV and battery pack reman is a complete new process from that we know, and this requires different tooling, different data, and different skills and knowledge. You see quite some conferences at the moment about this topic, and also associations are trying to explain more and more about it. Another trend or something that we see in remanufacturing is market consolidation. This is happening more in the United States and Europe, which is happening that bigger companies take over the smaller companies to create a larger volume. And also bigger companies companies are taking over other companies to create a wider range. This is a good and a bad trend which is going on. Of course, if companies are getting bigger in volume, they will have a larger voice. This means that they can more easily reach policymakers. However, it also creates there are less players on the markets. And I believe that there should be a healthy competition. So I believe that there must be multiple companies in the industry. Another trend is robotized reman. Also, you see that more in the United States and in Europe. It is an introduction of robots within remanufacturing, and that the robots are supporting the people's labor. So, for example, support in mass work or in the heavy work. For example, if one movement is repeating, then this can be done by a robot as well instead of by a person. Also, the green movement is something that is a trend at the moment. This is more relevant in Europe than in other countries and in other regions, because Europe is very focusing on sustainability and circular economy. And what the remanufacturing industry tries to do is to become more part of the sustainability factor. If we look at China, they have some different trends that we see in the United States and in Europe. In China, you see more that there is a development going on in the reman zones. So the big factories that have been brought to the remanufacturing zones need some development. They are looking for testing and balancing machines. And they are looking for these machines from Europe and the United States. Also, China has some slight problems with the return logistics. And the problem there is that in China, a core is not defined as a valuable item. However, it's a scrap part. And because of this, the core is not often returned in the reman circle. And you need a core to remanufacture. I know that soon there will be announced that in China, a core will be defined as a valuable part. This will make import and export possible. So this can increase the core amount in China, which make it better to remanufacture. Also, what we see nowadays is that international companies are having or establishing a company in China. International companies are very good aware of how the core return must be done. So they help the Chinese companies here a bit. Another trend in China is the certification. Certifications are now handed out to approved remanufacturers. This is done to keep the quality standard high, and this also encouraged the trust that the core is remanufactured and as good as new. The next slide, which I would like to show you, are other markets that are now increasing in remanufacturing. While the United States and Europe take up the largest activities in remanufacturing for already years, there are several other countries that have been rapidly developing their reman industries. For example, Malaysia, Korea, Japan, Denmark, and Brazil are markets that we need to look at because they are rapidly increasing as well. And of course, I hope that India will follow in this list soon. I would like to conclude that there are three major regions in the world if we're looking at remanufacturing, which are the United States, Europe, and China. The biggest challenge at the moment is creating awareness to be able to grow the remanufacturing industry. There are many associations that would like to help the industry, and if there are any questions or whatsoever, you can always contact them. There are several companies outside these three regions that are rapidly increasing their remanufacturing programs, and I believe that we should learn from each other. The United States and Europe are quite far in their developments. Therefore, I think, for example, India can learn from these two markets. If you'd like to know more about Remantech or like to know more about the remanufacturing industry, you can always go to our website and click to register for Remantech news. Thank you for your attention. This concludes my presentation, and I think I give the word back to Rajiv.